Welcome to our new series here on Champion Sons, where we are doing a Let's Play for Planet Zoo. If you are new to the channel, welcome and thank you for joining us. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. And if you are a current subscriber of the channel and a current viewer of our content, well, thank you for joining us and glad to see you back. So what are we getting into here with this Planet Zoo stuff, you ask? Um, well, as many of y'all know from maybe previous episodes, I live in Austin, and there is a zoo here. Don't get me wrong, there is a zoo in Austin. However, it's more for, I guess you could say like rehab of um, animals. If they have injuries, disabilities, things like that. And essentially, they'll rehab them and kind of get them to where they can go back into I guess I would say, into another zoo. Sometimes back into the wild, obviously, is the end game. But a lot of times, if they can't go back into the wild, at least they get moved to a different zoo, larger habitats, uh, and everything like that. So the Austin Zoo's rather limited as far as, I guess you could say, the appearance goes. And so what we're building here is essentially what I would like to see, or what I would think if Austin had a proper zoo, such as like say Houston or San Antonio did, or Fort Worth. Um, that this is kind of how I would interpret Austin would do it, right? So that's kind of what we're going with here. Now, as you're watching this, I've always talked about in Planet Coaster and our series there, even now with the Planet Zoo series as we're going on, what you see now generally is not going to be the end product. At the very beginning was kind of a screenshot of what we actually are working with, and so right now, as you can tell, it's completely different. So things change constantly. Sometimes you're going to see those changes happen on camera. Sometimes you're going to see them happen off camera. Uh, it's just one of those things that if I think it's going to be too tedious to watch, like I know it's going to take me, say an hour to 2 hours just to do a few minor changes. I'm probably not going to show that because there's not much of a need to show that. So just to give y'all a little heads up on that one. So what are we kind of doing here right now? I guess you could say. I started out wanting I guess it's my version of what I would say is a modern type of entrance, at least in design terms. That's what I was originally going for. Because if you look at Austin as a whole, it's massively growing, and all the buildings downtown. I guess the new thing in modern buildings is to make them look like they're twisted halfway up. So you have your base standing there essentially, like, so Planet Coaster terms, it'd be like a 4x2 going up, say, 50 levels. And then after that, you add 50 more levels, but you turn them on about a 30-degree angle, 45-degree angle. So it's kind of sitting off kilter. That's apparently the new thing. It looks kind of cool, but that's how Austin's downtown is being built. And so, I was going for a modern look. And standard, the got to turn the entrances around the right way, but a lot of what you see with, I guess, modern style homes and everything, what they consider is just plain boxy. It's very, I wouldn't say like neutral type coloring, but you get a lot of the black and white. Uh, a lot of black colors mixed with, kind of outlining or edging, I guess, grayish to white colors. And so that was kind of the inspiration for this at the start of it. Once again, as you could tell from that first screenshot, is this changes completely. And that's going to happen multiple times, so don't panic. And I think it happens to everybody. Anybody that takes to build something and uh, Planco or Planet Zoo, you're going to know that, okay, I built it once, I'm looking at it, I need to restart it. And that happens. That's just the way of the game. All right. Um, so you just restart it and get going with something to make sure that that's what you're happy with, and that's kind of what I was doing here. As I was building along, putting all the roofs on, even I started going, man, that looks okay to me, but it's not what I was really wanting to have there. Um, so at about the halfway mark, you'll kind of see. For those of you that wanted to fast forward, you'll see what is closer to the screenshot that is shown to you, right? So that's kind of what you'll get out of that one. Moving that closer. Here I am just deleting some of the pathway because in this entrance, I haven't thought about the pathway, the entry. I did remove the original building that Planco puts in there, Planet Zoo puts in there for peeps to enter in. I did delete that. And what I'm thinking about building is going to be just a minor to mid-size subway station. That way I could put the peep creator in there, creator, whatever they call that, generator in there, and people could come out of it, and it'd be a reasonable assumption. Oh, that's a subway. That's why you're not going to see any cars. That's why you don't see any tracks. Boom. That makes perfect sense. So I'll probably be doing that off screen, I would assume. I don't know. Once this gets posted, put in the comments if you want to see that. If not, hey, I'll just do it off screen, and by the next episode we'll get into looking at doing the first habitat. And also in the comments, let me know what animal should be in that first habitat. Do we go big? Do we go massive with like a gigantic predator? Or do we go with, I don't know, turtles? I guess turtles. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what y'all want to see, and we'll start putting something together for the next episode. With the Planet Coaster series, I did upload one video for that last week. This week is Planet Zoo. It's probably going to be a week on, week off. I'm not going to lie. These games are tedious to play and just take a while, so it is one of those things that's going to be a week on, week off to make sure, one, that we're able to get everything completed, have it look right, and do it in a way that I think everybody can be satisfied with, right? So that's going to be kind of some of the release schedule. In the midweek, I do have the new UFC 4, so we will be bringing Bubba Champion back to the cage in the updated game. May have to start over from some spots, but that's okay. And then we still have the Black Knight series going on, so we're going to continue that. And then once Madden 21 comes out, we're going to go on with Face of the Franchise for Madden 21. So that's kind of where we're standing as the channel goes. But overall, I'm pretty excited. Getting into a new series is always a fun thing to do, and especially a game like Planet Zoo with as detailed as it really needs to be to look good. That's one of the things I like about Planet Coaster. It is extremely tedious, don't get me wrong. You can tell it's sitting there making tiny little movements onto all these little posts and bars and everything to try to add some forms of depth into your buildings and all that. It is tedious. I'll say this iteration that you're seeing of the entrance is actually the third attempt at it. All right. The first attempt I made to build an entrance ended up it was more inspired by a safari, basically an entrance into a safari that my parents had gone on a couple of years ago in Africa. I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks really great. And I started to kind of reproduce it, thinking, hey, this will be the new entrance for the Planet Zoo series. And it it's a good looking entrance, but it's not something for a whole zoo. So I'm like, all right. So I will give you the spoiler alert. There is going to be a safari ride in our zoo because I'm gonna use that entrance. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna use the entrance, and you'll. I don't know if I'll show the video to it to making it. I do still have it, I believe. Not exactly certain, but uh, I will go ahead and use that entrance for the safari and the safari ride that we have that we're going to put in here into our park. So that will be coming. What episode? I don't know. Can't tell you. Really can't. So uh, other than that, now yeah. So what I'll go ahead and do is kind of let y'all check out some more of the building here while we listen to some tunes. And I'll kind of check back in on y'all a little bit later here in the episode. All right. So have fun. Good listening. And I am back. As y'all will notice, I think you kind of start picking up the what I meant by, oh, everything will change. Don't worry about it. Everything will change. And so, this is pure evidence of that. What you see me doing right now is just working on putting in some, God, I guess, path covers, ground covers, something to kind of bring the whole area together so you don't just have all these grassy little entrances in. And one of the things I had when I built one of the first version of the entrance was the Safari one. The second version I had, once again, it's more of a modern style. I had posted a picture of it talking about feedback and everything I'd posted a picture of it in one of the Discords. I think it was the Bro Nation Discord, asking for some feedback on it. One of the things that kept coming back is that, hey, it's too plain and the ground is pretty simple and a little too ordinary, and not, there's not enough to break up just this plain cement plastic texture, whatever. So that's kind of what I was doing here. Is, all right, this is definitely not going to be plain. It's not going to be one dimensional. We're going to have multiple layers on this thing. That's kind of what I was going for by doing these types of coverings here. And I think that turned out pretty decent. Kept kind of having to move them around because, once again, the covers, I'm just trying to fill in some of the blank areas. The path, well, it is what it is. And those gaps, no, I'm not just putting accidental gaps in. Those are there for a purpose. Generally, they're going to be planners. But there was something kind of goofy with how they just looked in that area. So here I was trying to make sure we got everything, got it back in. I know it's not center. This thing is not symmetrical, so it wasn't going to be centered, and that's okay. So I kind of made the best of it with the work that I could. The one downside is I made mistakes, and I started adding, mulch pieces into buildings and all this other stuff. I was like, man, that was unnecessary. But it makes, you're about to see me try to make a move of these pieces, and you're going to see why that's such a pain in the butt. So I am taking into account some of the path work here, right? I'm trying to, at least. And originally the path was going to come all the way kind of down, but I think you'll see this in a little bit. I'm not sure if I did that off camera. I may have, but essentially I take out some of the path sections and kind of flatten it off, so it doesn't come to a point. Now, one of the reasons for that is, and I've never really been one to do this too much, so I'm really going to try to give it a shot with Planet Zoo, is I am going to put in essentially a street to it, coming out of a little hillside, nothing major. Put a street into it and around, and possibly look at putting a minor, I don't know about neighborhood, but a little housing area. And also probably going to work on I don't know if it's parking garage or at least a parking lot. Gonna give that a shot. I've never done those in any game before, so I think I'm gonna give it a shot in this one. Here we are, just putting in the signs. Yeah, it was recommended. There are a lot of great custom fonts in the Steam Workshop, and I've actually, I guess, subscribed to one of them, so I do have one of the custom fonts available. But I think I want this. You see me here flattening it off right now, but I think I want to do this as much, I guess you could say, customized as possible to my abilities, and so that's kind of why I didn't go with those. I'll probably end up using them later. That's going to be kind of a given, but it's one of those things. At this time, I'm just not too sure about if I actually want to use them. So that's kind of why I haven't used them yet, and you'll see the in-game fonts there. So here I am trying to move the sign out of the middle of the walkway. I had put the curbing on the path down just so I could get a feel for where the actual path was. And it hits you that, oh, your sign is right in the middle. And I don't know if Planet Zoo has any of those barrier things like Planco does to prevent peeps from walking through it. But I thought that would just look beyond ridiculous if they did. So I kind of moved the sign off to keep the center part open, so all the pathway was actually open for the peeps to be walking through. That's kind of what you see me working on here. But other than that, it's kind of just finishing up this front entrance area is how everything is going to end here today. Like I said, in the comments, let me know what animal we should put in, and we'll get to work on that habitat. And don't worry, I'm not gonna show you the work on building the road or even probably the neighborhood going in around the zoo and all that stuff. You know, that's just those tedious little detail work that even I know is not all that fun to watch, right? So that's kind of where I'm gonna leave it off with y'all today. So I am going to finish putting in just a couple little statues, and that's kind of how this entrance plaza is going to be ending for us. And I don't know if y'all noticed, because it's going so quickly. I think it's like 800 times the speed. I had to individually click each and every single one of those wall pieces to get it to duplicate over, and that was a pain. So all the one statue on the left said, nope, I need a statue on the right. How could I not have one on the right? So once again, put one in, put in that little, I don't even know how to pronounce that plant, put in some rocks. And I really like these wolf statues you see me kind of toying around with here. But something about it just didn't fit for right now. So I ended up going with a hippo. Yeah, end up going with the hippo. So, as always, everybody, remember to like and subscribe for future content on our channel. And I will see y'all next time. So, stay safe, and later, everybody.